Okay, so you're thinking about underfloor heating. Smart move. It's not just a cozy luxury anymore. It's actually becoming a bigger deal in the UK every year. But before you dive into a world of warm toes and toasty slippers, let's talk about what really makes or breaks your underfloor heating dreams.
The flooring itself.
It's like the difference between wearing a thick wool sweater on a summer day versus a light linen shirt. The wrong material can make all the difference in how comfortable you feel.
Exactly. And no one wants to spend their winter feeling like their heat is trapped under a thermal blanket. Luckily, that's where your expertise comes in.
Happy to help navigate the world of warm floors.
Awesome. So, for those who are just starting to think about ditching the radiators, can you give us a quick rundown of the underfloor heating basics? Absolutely. When it comes to underfloor heating, you've basically got two main options: electric, sometimes called dry systems, and water-based, which are often called wet systems. Electric systems are like the easy-peasy option, especially for renovations, because they're basically like heating mats you roll out under your floor. Water-based systems, on the other hand, involve running hot water pipes under the floor.
So electric is simpler to install, but what about the long game? Which one is more cost effective in the long run?
That's where it gets interesting. Electric systems are generally cheaper to install up front, but water-based systems can actually be more energy efficient over time, especially for larger spaces.
Got it. So it's a trade-off. Easier installation with electric versus potential long-term savings with water-based.
Precisely. And speaking of trade-offs, the type of system you choose can impact your flooring options too.
Because not all flooring is created equal when it comes to handling that underfloor heat, right?
You got it. The magic phrase here is thermal conductivity. How well a material conducts heat. You want flooring with high GH thermal conductivity so that heat doesn't get trapped below the surface.
So some materials are like, heat, come on in, the floor is lovely this time of year. And others are like, nope, sorry, heat's staying down here, you guys have fun up there.
That's a great way to put it. And beyond conductivity, we also need to think about how thick the material is and how well it handles temperature swings without warping or buckling.
So what are the stars of the show when it comes to underfloor heating-friendly flooring?
The top contenders are engineered wood, laminate, and luxury vinyl tiles, also known as LVT. And believe it or not, even certain types of real wood can work with the right precautions.
Ooh, real wood. I thought that was a big no-no with underfloor heating.
It often is,
Hmm.
especially if we're talking about solid hardwood. But engineered wood is like the superhero of underfloor heating compatibility.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about the superhero flooring.
It's all about how it's made. Imagine a delicious layer cake. That's what the construction of engineered wood reminds me of. It's made up of multiple layers of wood bonded together in a crisscross pattern, which makes it super stable and much less likely to warp or buckle when the temperature changes.
So it's like the different layers are working together to keep everything in check, even when the heat is on. That's really cool.
Exactly. This stability is what makes engineered wood a fantastic choice, both practically and aesthetically.
It's like getting the best of both worlds. The beauty of wood without the worry of it going haywire with your heating system. So engineered wood is a winner. What about laminate and LVT?
They're both excellent choices too, especially from a thermal conductivity perspective. Laminate is usually thin and made with a dense core, so it transfers heat really well.
So it's like a thermal expressway for the heat.
Exactly. Just be sure to check with the manufacturer that the specific type of laminate you're eyeing is compatible with underfloor heating.
Always read the label, got it.
Yeah.
Now what about LVT? What makes it a good choice?
LVT, or luxury vinyl tiles, are fantastic because they're both stylish and durable. They often have a core layer that's great at conducting heat. And they're also water resistant, which makes them ideal for kitchens and bathrooms.
So those are great options for anyone looking for a sleek, modern look that can stand up to spills and splashes. You also mentioned that some real wood options could work with underfloor heating. Tell me more about that.
While solid hardwood is generally a no-go because it tends to expand and contract like crazy with temperature changes, certain thinner, more stable species of real wood can work if they're installed correctly.
So it's not entirely off the table, but probably best to consult with a flooring expert in those cases.
Absolutely. They can guide you toward suitable species and make sure the installation process minimizes any potential problems.
Speaking of installation, are there any special things to keep in mind when it comes to putting down flooring over underfloor heating?
Great question. Proper installation is absolutely crucial for any underfloor heating system. We're not just talking about the flooring itself either. The subfloor preparation is equally important.
The foundation beneath the foundation.
Precisely. You need a clean, level surface to work with. Any imperfections or structural issues need to be addressed before the underfloor heating even goes in. Otherwise, you risk damaging the system or ending up with uneven heating.
Yikes. That's good to know. So once the subfloor is prepped and ready to go, what's next on the installation checklist?
Insulation, and I can't stress this enough.
Insulation, like what we put in our walls and attics.
Similar concept. But in this case, it's specialized insulation that goes beneath the heating system itself.
So under the heating element, but above the subfloor.
You got it. This insulation acts like a barrier, stopping heat from escaping downwards and directing it upwards into your living space. It's all about maximizing efficiency.
So no wasted energy, just pure, cozy warmth right where you want it. Now, when it comes to the actual installation, is this something a DIY enthusiast can tackle? Or is it better to call in the professionals?
While I applaud the DIY spirit, underfloor heating is a bit more complex. I'd always recommend professional installation for optimal functionality and safety.
So it's better to be safe than sorry, especially with something that impacts your comfort and safety.
Exactly. Professionals have the experience and expertise to ensure everything is installed correctly and functions at its best. They can also offer valuable advice on things like thermostat placement and system controls.
Okay, so professional installation is definitely something to seriously consider. What about maintenance? Once the system is up and running and I'm living my best warm floor life, are there any special care instructions?
That's the great news. Caring for flooring with underfloor heating isn't as high maintenance as you might think.
Music to my ears. Give us those low maintenance tips.
The golden rule is to avoid drastic temperature changes.
So no cranking the heat up to sauna levels and then back down to meat locker in a matter of hours.
Exactly. Big temperature swings can stress the system and the flooring, which could lead to problems down the road.
So gradual adjustments are the way to go.
Absolutely. And the other key thing is to always use cleaning products that are recommended by your flooring manufacturer.
Makes sense. Different flooring types have different needs, right?
Precisely. Using the wrong cleaning product could damage the flooring's finish or even mess with its thermal properties, making that underfloor heating less effective.
Not good. Avoid extreme temperature changes and use the right cleaning products.
Got it. Now let's talk about costs. Underfloor heating sounds amazing, but I'm guessing it doesn't come cheap.
You're right. The initial installation costs can vary a lot depending on the size of your space, the type of system you choose, and whether you go with professional installation. It's always wise to get multiple quotes from reputable contractors to compare your options.
So shop around and do your homework.
Exactly. But it's also important to remember that underfloor heating, while potentially requiring a higher upfront investment, can lead to significant long-term savings.
Because of the energy efficiency we talked about earlier. Absolutely. With traditional radiators, heat rises and tends to get trapped near the ceiling. So you end up cranking up the thermostat just to feel warm, which sends your energy bills skyrocketing.
Been there, felt that.
Right. Underfloor heating, on the other hand, heats your room from the ground up, creating a more even and comfortable temperature distribution.
So you're not wasting energy heating up the ceiling.
Exactly. Because the heat is distributed more efficiently, you can often set your thermostat a few degrees lower than you would with radiators and still feel perfectly comfortable.
So not only are you walking on sunshine, but you're also saving money on your energy bills in the long run. That's what I call a win-win.
Absolutely. And with energy prices being as unpredictable as they are, that potential for long-term savings can be incredibly valuable. It's like investing in a cozier, more energy-efficient HUD for your home.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here today, from the different types of underfloor heating systems to ideal flooring choices, installation tips, and even maintenance advice. But before we wrap things up, I want to pick up on something you mentioned earlier. This idea of creating a specific atmosphere with your flooring choice.
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in the
Yeah.
the nitty-gritty of underfloor heating and flooring specs. But at the end of the day, it's about creating a feeling, a vibe, a sanctuary within your own home.
It's like choosing the right outfit. You want something that not only looks good, but also makes you feel confident and comfortable.
Exactly. So when you're picturing your dream underfloor heating setup, think about the story you want your home to tell.
I love that. It's like each flooring choice has its own personality. Are you drawn to the warmth and character of engineered wood, the sleek modernity of LVT, or maybe even the classic elegance of real wood if you're feeling bold?
And don't forget about the often overlooked heroes of underfloor heating, Ceramic and stone tiles.
Oh, that's right. They might not be the first thing that comes to mind, but you're saying they deserve a spot on the podium.
Absolutely. Ceramic and stone are like the unsung champions of thermal conductivity. They heat up quickly and spread that warmth evenly across the floor. So no more chilly toes on those cold mornings.
Plus, they're incredibly durable and a breeze to clean, which makes them perfect for high-traffic areas like kitchens and bathrooms.
Exactly. And aesthetically, they're incredibly versatile. From rustic terracotta tiles to sleek marble finishes, the design possibilities are endless.
So many choices. But that's part of the fun, right? Finding the perfect flooring to match your style and create that cozy haven you've been dreaming of.
Precisely. Now, on the flip side, are you ready to talk about which flooring choices to avoid? The ones that'll have you wondering why your feet are still cold, even with the heating on.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about the flooring faux pas, the ones that make you say, what were they thinking?
Well, at the top of that list is thick carpets.
Really? But carpets are so soft and cozy.
They are. But think of it this way. Imagine burying a heater under a giant pile of blankets. That's essentially what you're doing when you pair thick carpets with underfloor heating. All that precious heat gets trapped beneath the surface, struggling to reach your toes.
So all that cozy insulation is actually working against the heating system.
Exactly. They're incredibly inefficient for underfloor heating. Now, you can still enjoy carpets in other areas of your home, but when it comes to those rooms with underfloor heating, it's best to opt for more conductive flooring options.
Got it. Thick carpets. You're officially off the underfloor heating guest list. Now, what about solid hardwood flooring? We touched on this earlier, but I'm curious to dive a little deeper into why it's often considered a risky choice with underfloor heating.
Solid hardwood is a classic beauty, no doubt. But its downfall with underfloor heating is its tendency to
Well,
move.
move, as in dance across the room when the heat kicks on.
Not quite a dance party. But you're on the right track. Solid hardwood is very susceptible to expanding and contracting with changes in temperature and humidity.
Right, like those gaps that can appear between hardwood floorboards in the winter when the air gets drier.
Exactly. While those seasonal gaps are normal for solid hardwood, they can become much more extreme with the constant temperature fluctuations of underfloor heating.
So those gaps could become more prominent, potentially leading to warping, buckling, or even cracking over time.
Precisely. That's why in most cases we advise against using solid hardwood with underfloor heating. The risk of damage is simply too high.
It's a shame because it's such a beautiful flooring option. But I guess, like you said earlier, it's all about finding that balance between style, functionality, and, of course, budget.
Absolutely. Speaking of budget, it's important to remember that while underfloor heating might seem like a larger upfront investment, it can actually lead to significant long-term savings through increased energy efficiency.
So you're saying it's more of an investment in a cozier, more cost-effective future.
Exactly. Think of it this way. With traditional radiators, heat rises and gets trapped near the ceiling. You end up cranking up the thermostat just to feel warm, and your energy bills go through the roof.
Been there. Done that. Not buying the t-shirt again.
Right. Underfloor heating, on the other hand, heats your room from the ground up, creating a more even and comfortable temperature. You're not wasting energy heating the ceiling. Which means you can often get away with setting your thermostat a few degrees lower than you would with radiators.
So not only are you walking on sunshine, but you're also saving money on your energy bills in the long run. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here today, from the different types of underfloor heating systems to ideal flooring choices, installation tips, and even maintenance advice. But before we wrap things up, I want to bring it back to that idea of creating a feeling with your flooring choice.
I'm glad you brought that up again. It's something I'm passionate about. Too often people get bogged down in the technical details of flooring and forget that it's also about creating a mood, a sense of place.
Exactly. Your home should be a reflection of your personal style, a sanctuary where you feel both comfortable and inspired.
Precisely. So when you're considering underfloor heating and the perfect flooring to go with it, don't just think about the practicalities. Think about the feeling you want to evoke in your space.
Are you drawn to light, airy tones that create a sense of spaciousness? Or do you prefer richer, darker hues that evoke a sense of warmth and intimacy?
It goes beyond the material itself. Think about colors, patterns, textures.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where your personal style meets the overall ambiance you envision for your space.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to have some fun with it. Experiment with different textures, play with patterns, and consider adding pops of color to create visual interest.
That's where the magic happens, when you start thinking of your flooring as a canvas for self-expression. Now, before we get too carried away with our interior design daydreams, we should probably start wrapping up this deep dive before we redecorate our entire homes in our minds.
You're right, we have gotten a bit carried away with all the possibilities, but it's understandable. Creating a warm, stylish, and inviting space is something we all crave.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic diving into the world of underfloor heating and flooring harmony with you. Hopefully, our listeners are feeling inspired and informed, ready to create their own cozy retreats.
I think we've accomplished our mission.
To recap, underfloor heating is hotter than ever, pun intended. And for good reason. It's efficient, stylish, and can even save you money over time. But the key is choosing the right flooring to maximize those benefits.
Exactly. Engineered wood, laminate, LVT, and even certain types of real wood or tile can be fantastic partners in warmth with your underflow heating system.
Just remember to steer clear of those thick carpets and solid hardwood floors, as tempting as they might seem.
Absolutely. And don't forget about the importance of proper subfloor prep and that essential insulation layer. It makes all the difference.
And while we love a good DIY project, underfloor heating is one area where calling in the pros is often the smartest move.
Couldn't agree more. Now, as we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
I do love a good final thought. What's on your mind?
We've covered a lot of technical ground today, but ultimately, underfloor heating is about so much more than just physical warmth. It's about creating a feeling, an experience, a true haven within your home.
It's about stepping onto a floor that not only feels amazing beneath your feet, but also sparks joy every time you walk into the room.
Beautifully put. So as you embark on your underfloor heating and flooring journey, remember to consider not just the practical aspects, but also the feeling you want to cultivate in your space.
What kind of energy do you want to welcome into your home? What story do you want your floors to tell?
Once you've answered those questions, you'll be well on your way to creating a home that's as warm and inviting as it is stylish and uniquely used.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of underfloor heating and flooring harmony. It's been a pleasure exploring these cozy possibilities with you.
It has been a pleasure sharing these insights.
If you're eager to start browsing flooring options, head over to Wood and Beyond. They've got a fantastic selection of engineered wood LVT and real wood flooring that's perfectly suited for underfloor heating.
And remember, don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. Your home should be a reflection of you.
Until next time, happy heating!